Welcome back to the Expand Love Show. Today we have an amazing guest called Bennett. He has a great YouTube channel called Raw Intuition. He became raw vegan in 2011 and healed a lot of diseases like eczema, depression, anxiety, and so much more. So we will be diving into his journey of how he figured out his intuition and is now a holistic health educator teaching people how to dive into their body and raw vegan lifestyle. Welcome, Matt, to the show. Would you like to just give a small introduction of your life and how your journey of raw food has been?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. My early life was kind of similar to most people. Living a standard American lifestyle. I grew up in Minnesota, so middle of the United States, up towards Canada, and so it was just a lot of pizza, hot dogs, frozen pizzas, other frozen meals. And as you said, I grew up with some health issues that I feel like is kind of common, at least here in the U.S. A lot of eczema, asthma. My skin was always dry and like it would crack and bleed. And, I had a lot of allergies and colds and flus every single year. All those sorts of things that I think a lot of people experience. And it wasn't until I got to about my teenage years where I started to develop a little bit more of like self-conscious, self-limiting mind or thought patterns and things like that, and I would say depression. So I was really down on myself, and when I was 16 I started to lose my hair, and that even made it worse. And so that was honestly, like, at that time it was like the scariest thing for me. I really didn't want to lose my hair. So that was probably maybe the main thing that drove me towards, learning about like holistic health, I suppose. I wasn't really focused on, holistic health per se, but I was just looking for, foods that would help to prevent hair loss and things like that. So I did grow up, my mom always instilled in us that you are what you eat. So I kind of had that mindset a little bit within me, even though we still ate a lot of things that, weren't optimal. So jumped on the internet, started looking up foods that prevent hair loss. And I, came up with like beef, chicken, eggs, fish, all the animal products out there. And so, I was already eating a lot of those foods on a pretty consistent basis, but I just decided I needed to eat more of them. But the good thing was that it also taught me to eat a lot of spinach, because that was like the common leafy green that they would talk about on those websites. So I started making these big leafy green salads, with, of course, a lot of the other foods like the cheese and chicken and ranch dressing and all that sort of stuff. But it did get me into the habit of eating big salads. And so I carried that with me, really since I was about 17 or so. And, when I was in college, my friends would call me Mr. Healthy. They would give me a hard time because I would like to make, I'd make these big salads with spinach and all that stuff. And I would make a lot of my food at home, and I would make it, I wouldn't go out, as much. I still did go out, but, and get like pizza and tacos and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I was really trying to eat as healthy as, I knew how. And then let's see. So throughout all that, I really didn't experience any benefit to my hair that I noticed. So it was still just kind of a continual process of, always trying to look for something to help with that. But it was good because I kept, trying new foods and getting in some more, vegetables. it was funny. I was thinking about this a little while ago, how few fruits I actually ate before I got into this lifestyle. Like I feel like I would maybe have a banana here or there, but that was like it, you know? So it was quite different from how I am today. And so, yeah, when I was about 25 years old, I came across a radio program, an internet radio program that was talking about juice fasting. And so, for some reason, I decided that I wanted to give that a try. And my brother had just recently given me a Jack LaLanne centrifugal juicer, one of the old school ones. And so, I just thought it was like, too much of a coincidence. So I just decided I was going to try this juice fast. And I planned on just going like 2 or 3 days, right? And so went to the grocery store, got all these vegetables and fruits, and brought them home, and I juiced over the weekend, and I felt incredible. Really, like it was really eye-opening. I was sleeping better even after just a couple days, and I was just feeling a lot better. So after 3 days, or at 2 or 3 days, whatever, I think I started on a Friday and I went till Sunday, and then I felt so good that I just kept going. And so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days came, and I was still feeling really good. I ended up going 10 days, and I lost like 10 to 15 pounds or something. I lost quite a bit of weight in those 10 days. But my sleep was amazing. My energy levels were so good. But the thing that really kind of caught my attention was that my toxic thinking had actually diminished quite significantly. And so, with all these benefits that I was feeling, it really just showed me that there's something really powerful about fruits and vegetables. I hadn't been eating all the foods that I had read about and I've learned in school that I need to eat to be strong and healthy. And so, yeah, I realized that I hadn't been eating those foods, and all I was having was fruit and vegetable juices. And so from that point on, it was just a continual learning process of, the power of fruits and vegetables, but specifically raw fruits and vegetables. And I just, took it from there. And 11 years later, here I am, still with the best health of my life. And I don't experience any of those issues like the asthma, the eczema, the allergies, sleep issues, all of that went away. And so, yeah, it's been amazing, and I've just enjoyed being able to share it with people and yeah, spread the message.
Wow, what a beautiful transformation. I
Yeah,
have so
thank you.
many people who come with like eczema and asthma, and they're just like not open to the idea of eating only raw. So they try so many diets and then they fail. But so you're also a health educator right now. That is what you do, right? And so your title even says raw intuition. What
Yep.
is the process? People don't even understand intuition. But like if you had to like put it in short, what is intuition and how is it that a person can be in tune to their body? That would be really great.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I kind of say, intuition, I feel like it's either God's voice to us, it's like God's communication with us, or it's our soul's communication with us. It's really just tapping into, that connection we have with who we truly are. And that is what I think a lot of people have gotten disconnected from, with, how our culture is, especially in the US. It really separates you from your intuition and from who you truly are. And they really try to just homogenize the entire population into, a bunch of the same type of people that are going to go to work, punch a clock, do that sort of thing, and not question anything that the mainstream is telling them. So I think that it's so important that, people, one, kind of think about if they are connected with their intuition, if they're really truly, connected with that authentic, genuine, person within them, or if they're, wearing, as they say, we wear masks. I don't mean, the cloth ones that people are wearing these days, but we change ourselves to fit in with society. And I think that it's, the fruits and the vegetables, they really just start to reconnect us with that love frequency that, nature has all throughout it. And I think that, just bringing in more of those fruits and vegetables that are hydrating and antioxidant rich, and they've got that life force energy from the earth. I think that is really what got me reconnected with my intuition and able to really listen to it. With, before I was ignoring it and just kind of, put it on the back burner. But now it's like, I can't ignore it because, it's just too strong. And so it's been really powerful to reconnect with who I truly am and start to align my body, mind, and soul with, so yeah, that's kind of how I would describe it.
Amazing. It's so striking because right now I'm reading a book by Just Moheen. She's a breatharian and she's talking about divine one within a lot. And this is something that I'm like, keeping in my head all the time, the true essence like that we are. So
Yeah.
amazing. So how do you distinguish between, if you had to tell for the audience, the voice from your head and the voice from your intuition?
Yeah. So I would say, I think intuition is really strong when we're children. So if it, I like to encourage people to think about the things they loved when they were children. And a lot of times that's, the things that we were passionate about and we really wanted to do, but we got separated from that and we let the mind get in the way and, tell us that it's unrealistic or, it's just not practical to do the things that we're passionate about. And so I think a really good way to determine if kind of you're following your intuition or if you're following, some subconscious programming that you've picked up somewhere, it's does it truly resonate with, what you were kind of passionate about as a child, but also, it's funny. It's really hard to explain it. It's more of something that you feel, I think. And, if it really feels true to you, and I know it can be difficult, because we're all filled with so many different, thoughts and ideas from other people and culture and media and all these things. So the best way to determine that, I guess I would say, is to one, meditate and really silence, get away from all the noise. Meditation has really helped me with that, to, quiet my mind and try to, get in tune with my intuition and what I truly want. And like you said, distinguish what's in my mind versus what's in my soul, my intuition. So yeah, I would say try and get away from all the noise for a little while. A lot of us wake up, we got our cell phone out, we got the radio on, we got the television on, we drive to work, we got the radio on. So there's always some other message that isn't our own flowing into our, our consciousness. And so if you can, take some time, could just be like 5 minutes a day or something like that. Just take some time to sit quietly and just be, and just, try and let your thoughts come out, and just that's really, I think, an easy way for most people to start going down that path of tuning into their intuition, is just get away from the noise and sit quietly and just let it all flow out and just see what you hear.
Yeah, I mean, when you were talking, you placed your hand on your heart. I could see it, So like it's the message from the heart that comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what people need to do is it's okay to fall a little bit, try it out, and then then you kind of realize, and as you said, tune into your intuition by just hit and trial method. And
Yeah.
meditation and sitting in stillness and silence with your own presence is like, I think it's one of the most powerful practice that everyone should implement in their life. And as we open our heart, I think the feeling is the word that you also like picked up, which I think is very important. And as we keep feeling, we know it, like which one
Yeah.
is from the mind and which one is from the heart. So I also think that, so how do we identify the feeling is something that just like expands you, just makes you feel like yay, because that's the message. That is when you got like in tune with the universe, when you felt the, I think the subconscious mind programming is something that you're kind of like, you will shrink you, like just like do some adjustments. But when there is a feeling of like yes, excitement, like just
Yes.
joy, and then you're like, then you're connected with your inner divine one or childlike essence. And that you use the word child as well, so that excitement which we always had as children, because life's meant to be so beautiful. It's meant to, if we connected with that source energy, with that childlike energy, if source is too much for some people, if we just connected with that, then life is awesome. Always, there's always a beautiful possibility that is lying ahead of us. No matter what is happening, you find meaning for everything.
Yeah.
Amazing, really, really beautiful. So, what do you eat these days? You look amazing. How young are you, and what do you eat to like maintain such a great body and a glowing skin?
Oh, thank you very much. So I'm 35 years old now. So yeah, I started this when I was 25. And so I started in 2011. April of 2011 is kind of when I started this journey. And so,
But you look
yeah,
very young.
I,
I want to
oh,
just like
thank you.
interrupt in between. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, the way that I eat, and I just actually, I'm just gonna plug my new book here.
Yeah, I
So I
saw
just
this
published a
one.
new book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 21-day raw transformation program. In that book, I talk about like my daily meal design, and that is basically, I call it SFS. So it's smoothie, fruit, salad. And so I always start my day off with a big fruit smoothie. It's like 10 bananas, like 7 to 10 bananas, some frozen fruit, some berries, maybe some chia seeds or flax seeds, and that's pretty much my breakfast. So I'll have that around like it varies a little bit, but it's usually like between 10 and 12, so somewhere in that range, late morning. And then about like 2 or 3, I'll have my lunch, my second meal, and that's just a plate of fruit. So whatever we have in season or just what's available. It's usually something like oranges in the winter time, or right now mangoes are here, so I'm eating a lot more Atolfo mangoes. So that's my lunch, is just some fruit, whatever we got, maybe some apples or something. And then for dinner, I will have, so I usually start my dinner with another smaller smoothie. And so I'll put in, and it's usually just like a really basic smoothie. Sometimes it's just bananas. Sometimes it's some dates and bananas. Sometimes it's just dates and water. So a little smoothie, just kind of to, start off my dinner meal. And then I'll have a big 5-star salad, is what I call them. 5-star salads. It's really just a big, massive salad with as many colors as possible, and a homemade dressing made of nuts or seeds and lemon juice, or a whole lemon actually, and then some herbs or spices, things like that. So yeah, and that's really my designed, or my daily meal design is how I phrase it. But yeah, and then sometimes, like actually right now, it's been kind of between the orange and the mango season. Like we're just kind of getting into the mango season, and we're getting more now. But so also in the book, I talk about a traffic light system, and so the raw foods, the fruits and vegetables, they're the green light foods. You can have as much as you want every single day. Then the yellow light foods, which is like, it can be, so the fats are yellow light because you eat a smaller amount of those. But also things like potatoes or beans, those are, sometimes I'll add those in between seasons when the fruit isn't as available. So just recently I've been having a few steamed potatoes into my salad, but it's always with a big raw salad. So it's a big massive salad with a little bit of steamed vegetables tossed in there. And yeah, so sometimes I'm, completely raw for months at a time. And then sometimes I add in a little bit of like steamed vegetables into my dinner salad. But yeah, that's how I eat. It's been working for me for 11 years now, and yeah, I'm loving it.
Do you exercise as well?
Yeah, yep. I don't really go to the gym. I sometimes I do end up going to a gym, but usually it's just at home. I just do pull-ups and push-ups, and I've got a few weights here at home that I'll do some like arm, curls and things like that. I go hiking and, running. I kind of go back and forth with, sometimes I'll run, sometimes I don't, but yeah, I think it's really, and I've exercised my whole life, like the push-ups and the pull-ups and things like that. I think just being consistent with exercise is really important. In addition to diet, which a lot of people kind of get stuck on just the diet. They feel so good from eating, a diet full of fruits and vegetables, and then they kind of neglect the exercise. I think they're both super important. So I try and be very consistent with both the diet and with, exercise.
Amazing, amazing. So, since you mentioned that you eat a little bit of cooked food, I wanted to point this out to people that it's all about, like, as you said, even the channel says, following your intuition. And if you're eating
Yeah.
most of the food that is like really nourishing, it's also amazing to, like, put some food for pleasure and just like enjoy the process instead of being like too, in the headspace about things and too strict with yourself or even with others. The whole idea of, having acceptance and joy and just like flowing as you are truly desiring to eat is so important for being able to stick to, better foods for longer period of time. And since you just mentioned about your like book in between, I would love you to like just tell viewers about like what is there in the book and what is it that they can expect, because I'm sure it's amazing. I'm sure the viewers must have already felt it with the interview that they had heard already. So you can show the book and like just talk a little bit about it. I would also love to know what's there in the book.
Yeah, and thank you. I completely 100% agree with you on going with the flow and using your intuition. If you need to add some cooked foods in for either pleasure or just, convenience, or, just to make your lifestyle practical. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's so important to not be too much in the head where you're too rigid and strict, and you got to be able to be flexible and flow with what's going on. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that. So yeah, the book is the 21-day raw transformation program. It's, I call it your complete guide to a healthy and sustainable raw vegan lifestyle. And that, going with the flow and being flexible is a huge part of the program. And that's why I mentioned that traffic light system. It just gives people, some boundaries to set for themselves.
Awesome.
And so the yellow light foods, again, are just foods like, as you can see, it's the fats, the raw fats. I always say to have your fats raw. And then, there are some cooked options like beans and lentils, steamed vegetables and squash, corn, potatoes, grains if you want grains, things like that. So yeah, I cover that in the book. The book is really, it's really meant to be much more than just about the diet. I've got a graphic here I can show you. So this is I haven't come up with a name for it exactly yet. It's like the intuition compass, but it basically shows the 5 different pillars of creating transformational change in your life. These are the 5 things that I was thinking about that really made a big difference for me, to really align my body, mind, and spirit. Getting the lifestyle factors down, like we were talking about, the exercise and the sleep is another big one, and like managing your stress and just making sure that you have a good way to process stress and deal with life. So a lot of people neglect taking care of that aspect of it. And so if we're not treating this as a holistic lifestyle, we can become unbalanced, and it can maybe appear like the diet isn't working, but really we're just not giving enough attention to all the different aspects of a holistic, healthy lifestyle. And so, yeah, there's, I talk about detox in the book because I think, a lot of people have kind of a negative connotation that goes along with detox. But really, the body detoxes naturally on its own. The problem is we get in its way a lot of the times, or we suppress things that it's trying to get rid of. And so there's just different ways that we can support our eliminative pathways and our eliminative organs, to really, optimize those processes to just keep our body clean and healthy, so that we can, continue, enjoying life as we should. And then really, to me, the most important part is the conscious shift. So the conscious shift, and that's maybe the biggest chapter in the book, is talking about how the conscious shift is really a prerequisite to making any of these changes last. Because, I give the example where, when I would go to the gym in the past, they would always have like a pizza party Friday, or like bagels or donuts like on Fridays. And, so everybody would be working out really hard because they want to get slim and healthy and lose weight. But then on Fridays, to reward themselves, they consume something that is counterproductive to that goal. And, for me, I was thinking about why is it so easy for me not to give into that? And it's because I changed my consciousness around what food is and what health is. And so pizza and bagels and donuts no longer fit my description as food, right? Everybody else, their subconscious programming has them believing that these products are human food. And so it's still well within their parameters to use these products to reward themselves. And really, we're trained from a young age to reward ourselves with, toxic products like these things. Birthday parties, we're given cake and ice cream, and, sporting events, we're, pizza and beer and hot dogs, and, any other get together, there's always, a lot of not healthy food. And so we're kind of conditioned, in these events, there's elevated emotion. And so we kind of correlate times of elevated emotion with these unhealthy foods. And so now as adults, we have elevated emotion from all the stressors in life. So somebody gets stressed because of their job or because of, finances or whatever else it could be. And now their subconscious programming is saying, all right, now, we're excited, we're stressed. Let's calm ourselves down with some pizza or, some other junk food. It's really that kind of self-sabotaging, mindset, thought patterns, things like that. So it's so important that we change our consciousness around what food actually is. And then really we have to become aware of, our subconscious programming. We can't change something if we don't have awareness of it. And so again, going back to meditation and just quieting the noise and getting, calm and within yourself and reconnecting to that, that is how we start to become aware of some of these subconscious programs that are going against our conscious wishes. And so, it's really such an important thing to have that conscious shift and really to incorporate all of these 5 pillars, which again is the conscious shift, building support systems, detoxification, the diet, of course, and also holistic, healthy lifestyle practices. So yeah, there's that. And then I give over 75, I think there might be over 80, but there's at least over 75 low fat, oil free, raw vegan dressings or raw vegan recipes. But it has a lot of my salad dressings that I, get so many requests for. So I made sure to put in a lot of those. And so, yeah, it's just got the recipes you need. It's got the, all the different aspects of the diet and the lifestyle and everything else that goes into a healthy, holistic diet and lifestyle. And so that you can make this something that lasts you, for the rest of your life. And so you're not yo-yoing back up and down, doing it one extreme to the next. It really teaches you to be very structured, but still flexible. And so it makes it very adaptable to really anybody's lifestyle. And there's 2 paths that you can take. There's an all raw path, and then there's a high raw path. So I always want to make sure that it's something that's practical for most people. And so, not everybody's going to want to be 100% raw. And like I said, I don't do 100% raw all the time because, there's various factors that make that more difficult at certain times of the year. And so, yeah, I've just put it all into a book on how I've succeeded for the last, 11 years and, how I've found, helping other people do the same thing. And so this really is kind of what I would go over if I was going to coach somebody. So if somebody wants to kind of get some coaching from me without actually doing the coaching, they could get the book and they'll get a lot of, the things that I would teach them in a coaching session.
Amazing. Really awesome. I learned so much. I was going to ask you actually, what are the things that you would recommend people if they want to, stick to the diet? And we got the answer already, the 5 paths that you have mentioned in the book. And the red light area and the green light area is also very creative. I think, people know to like, it's a nice way to get into the, learning how food is working and what you could choose from the diets. And of course, the recipes are always like cherry on the cake. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So in the book, you were also mentioning about subconscious mind reprogramming. And it's interesting because I'm going to be launching my course probably in 2 days, and it's about weight loss. Since a lot of people are looking for it and then moving into a healthy lifestyle, and how I'm doing it is with 80-10-10 diet and self-hypnosis and, subconscious mind reprogramming. So great link there. I see, we're kind of, thinking alike. I mean, I know it's so important to kind of like reprogram ourselves. And I was also into like severe anxiety for a small period of time, after which I like really did a lot of work. And when I was into raw foods is the time when my life really shifted up so much. And I am like, why did I not know this before? I had to like suffer all the way, make such a slow progress. And, when the food came in, the progress was like, boom, went up. So it's really like you're reprogramming your body. Your body is also your subconscious mind. And when it's such a simple way to reprogram by changing your food as well, because then your cells are different, and then your thought processes and the toxic thinking that you were mentioning, all like it just changes, like all these feelings of jealousy and like things that we were stuck with, insecurity, lack of self-worth, kind of like just moves away because you're just feeling good. This has been my experience. And even Mike, as you said, like in the beginning, the connection with the higher self and the divine, oh my God, it's so much easier to meditate. It's just, you're in love, you're in love with life. So that comes like as a free, thing with the change in the diet, as well as like doing the reprogramming work with meditation and other practices that we can do. In the book, you were also mentioning about detox. So did you go for long-term fasts or juice fasts or small fasts along with the diet in the last, how many years has it been? Like 12 years, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
11 to, yeah, 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, about 11 years. So yeah, fasting has been a big part of my lifestyle, like I said, I started off with that 10-day juice fast, and that kind of just, got me started with it. Um, so yeah, I do what they call intermittent fasting, most days. So I pretty much have like a 6 to 8 hour eating window most days, and it really, that's not even intentional. That's just me going with the flow of my natural, hunger signals and just what I, feel best doing. But yeah, I've incorporated different fasts, water fasting and juice fasting, throughout the last 11 years. My longest is 26 days. I did a water fast. But otherwise, I've just done, 1 to 3 days, sometimes maybe a 5-day, here and there. So I don't think I mentioned anything about fasting in the program, in the book, but yeah, personally for me, it has been, a really helpful tool for, one, cleaning out my body, but also spiritually, it's been a very effective tool for, tapping into my intuition and, just getting in line with, what I'm feeling, what I need to work on. Actually, during that 26-day fast, I was so drawn to my breathing and how I breathed. And so that was like a huge revelation for me. And it really got me down the path of studying, the breath and how we breathe and how it impacts, our emotions and just, how we're feeling, and our health overall. Breathing, is something that we don't really think about too much, but it's actually, oxygen is the number one nutrient that we need, right? So it's, the way that we breathe is important too. So yeah, that's just something that I kind of took from one of my fasts, and so it's just been a nice tool to help me connect with intuition and just, work my way to, get to where I want to be health wise.
Amazing. Since you mentioned about the breathing, yesterday I just learned that 70% of the toxins that we take out from the system is through the breath. And I've been following this breath work of, it's called breath wave, in which you do a yogic breath. You first breathe in your stomach, and then, slowly you expand your heart. And then when you exhale first through your like chest, and then go back into your, stomach. And
Wow.
I'm actually following it. Do you know Eli Marta from Pre-Melon Society? He
Oh
he
yeah, yeah,
he
Eli, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So actually, I came across this breath through his one of the videos, and I've just been doing it every day for like 20-25 minutes, and it's been
Oh
really
wow.
really amazing. So yeah, like fasts, as you mentioned, can be very important in connecting with your intuition and with your breath, and adds, it's like a wave and weaves into each other. Like, breathing
Yeah.
helps with the intuition, and it's just like feeds into each other, that we could say. So do you also do enema? What is your point of view on enema?
Yeah, I've done many enemas over the last 11 years, but I did more of them earlier on. I actually haven't done an enema for probably a few years or something like that. Yeah, but I did them quite a bit, enemas and colonics. I would go, there's a colon hydrotherapist a little ways from here. So I would go up there a few times. And yeah, I think enemas can be a very helpful tool. Especially for people that are, really clogged up and they want to get things moving. It's just a great way to, help the colon start to release some of the built up stuff that people have within them. And yeah, I've done the water enemas. I've done lemon juice, lemon juice mixed with water. And then I did a few coffee enemas back in the day. So yeah, I think it's a nice thing. Again, another nice tool to have with helping your body to start to eliminate some of those toxins that we've got stored up in us.
Yeah, amazing. And how is your relationship with the community and society and your friends as you were going into the process, and how is it that they respond to you now? Because I'm sure it's like a very drastic, lifestyle for a lot of people. And a lot of people sometimes would come and ask, this is the funniest question, do you feel healthy? I'm like, I've never felt healthier in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got that question all the time. Yeah. When I first started getting into this lifestyle, I got so much, pushback from people. All my friends thought I was crazy. My family was questioning if what I was doing was healthy. Because again, I was doing, pretty early on, I was getting into fasting and detox and all these things. So I did lose quite a bit of weight. And so I can understand why they were questioning it a little bit. But, over time, they were seeing all the positive changes that I was having. And, it was quicker for my family to be supportive and get on board than my friends. Most of my friends, it took years for them to really kind of start, acting like it was a good thing. And then actually, some of the friends that were giving me such a hard time when I started, they have since then come and asked me for help with, diet and health. And so that's been kind of, nice to see that, even when you don't know the people are watching, this is why I always tell people to share your story and just share what, is working for you, because you don't, even if nobody says anything in the moment, they're listening, and so you might hear from somebody 5 years from now that you had no idea was paying attention to what you were doing. And it was really just planting seeds in their mind that over time, it was something that led them to find either this way of life or just a healthier way of life. And, I've experienced that where, I had no idea some of these people were even watching what I was doing. And they came to me years later and told me how helpful it's been for me sharing what I've been doing and my experience, and it's really improved their life. So yeah, it's been kind of a roller coaster with some people on accepting this, lifestyle that I've decided to take on. And I mean, for me, it just feels so natural and so, how it's supposed to be. But I understand a lot of people aren't, at that place. And so I just try and be as compassionate as I can with, understanding that, it's just something that's different to them. And a lot of times when, people don't understand something, or, they're just not used to it, it can take a little while for them to just adjust or just to let it sink in. And then they're usually, if they're a friend, they'll come around and support you and, that sort of thing. So that's what I've found. And, I just, again, I think it's good to be compassionate with people. Even if they give you pushback in the beginning, there's a good chance that they're going to come back later. If you're doing things in a good way and you're really, being a shining example of what this lifestyle can do, that'll bring them back to ask questions and ask for help.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, similar journey with me as well, so probably it's a little bit difficult in the beginning, but later people, there's a quote, I think, first they ridicule you and then they laugh
Yeah.
at you, and then they finally accept you. So yeah, if you're doing something that is, kind of different for the world, it takes some time. But as you said, compassion for yourself or on the journey as well, so that you can stand by your side and don't quit. And for others is like the key for following up. Who were some of your teachers while you were getting into the journey? And if you had to recommend some books for people, which books, along with your own book, which books would you recommend for people to? This is it.
That's all you need.
To follow. Yeah.
No, so the three people that really kind of gave me the foundation of what I needed to get started was, the first one was Dan McDonald, the Life Regenerator, a lot of people know of on YouTube. And he, really just inspired me from the very first time that I saw his videos. And so I watched a lot of his videos, and then he was starting to talk about Dr. Robert Morse a lot in his videos. So I went over and I checked out Dr. Robert Morse on YouTube, and just learned so much from Dr. Morse as well. That he really gave me just the simplicity, of the body and of health. And that was, it made such a huge difference, because it gives you so much more freedom when you understand that you are in control of your health, and you have so much, power over how your body, is, and how your life turns out. So he was a big influence for me, and I just, studied him for, years. I still, study him and listen to his videos. And then also a John Kohler over at Growing Your Greens and OK Raw on YouTube. Those three guys were really my biggest influences in the beginning. There were others, like Durian Ryder was a big influence, back in those days when he was doing the raw food thing, and a bunch of others. There was just a bunch of people online, but Dan, John, and Dr. Morse were the three key ones that gave me that foundational education, and that I could build on, and turn it into this book. And but yeah, I would say for books, definitely Dr. Morse's book, the Detox Miracle Source book, was one of my favorite books in the beginning. Still is. Really, the China Study was another book that I found very helpful. That was actually the first book that I read from front to back about health, and it was such an eye opener for me. And then Dr. Campbell's next book, Whole, is another really good book that I think people should read. It just talks about reductionism and how science works, kind of corporate science, and how it's been corrupted, and how to kind of look at things from that angle. And then just the importance of whole foods, obviously, eating foods in as natural of a form as possible is going to be optimal. Let's see, what are some other good books that what's that? Oh, Arise by John McCabe, or the Sun Food. Oh, what is it? Or no, Ignite Your Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, John McCabe has a few books that I really liked. I can't remember their titles exactly. I know Sun Food something.
Sun Food Diet, I think it is.
Yeah, the Sun Food Diet. Yep. And I really like all of his books. And then let's see. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll send you a list. Yeah. I'll send you a list after. I'll have to go look at my library.
No, that's good enough. And then we have your book as well. So we got everything that you want to share.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was that your roommate, like sharing the book?
That was my part. Yeah, it was my partner, Celine.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hello to her. Amazing. Sweet. So so you mentioned all the books that you kind of like help you get into the journey. So I think these were mostly the questions that I wanted to ask you today, and I will definitely link down all the ways people can reach you and find your book as well. You could share just, for them to know where is it to find your book as well as you if they want to connect with you for any health coaching.
Yeah, for sure. And I should mention The Mucusless Diet Healing System by Arnold Ehret. That was another big one in my early days. I really liked that book, and really all of his books. He has like a few others that I really liked. So that's another one just to throw it in. But if people want to, connect with me or just kind of learn about what I'm doing, you can find me on YouTube at Raw Intuition, Instagram, Raw Intuition, and then my website is myrawintuition.com. So those are really right now the current places that I am putting out content. And I would love if people would go and sign up to my newsletter on my website. I'm trying to put out information for people and also keep them up to date on different things. So yeah.
Awesome. That's pretty good. Just one last question that just clicked me right now was what are the books that you would recommend for subconscious mind reprogramming? Because you mentioned and like intuition.
Yeah. So, I mean, even John McCabe's books, again, his are really about motivation and inspiration and things like that. But also I would look into, and I know they have books, but I don't remember, I've learned this sort of stuff from video, with mindset and all that, from, people like Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and Les Brown. Those were kind of the big motivational speakers that got me, really focused on my mindset. But also I would say, I had one in my head. Now it just went away.
It's okay. We can always mention in the description. I know this happens.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, and Dr. Joe Dispenza. Those two guys have really been a really, great source of education and just, inspiration in terms of the subconscious mind and reprogramming our habits and all that sort of stuff. I would say Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, and then, people know a lot more about like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, but I think all of those guys are a really good place to start. And I know there's, a bunch of other really great spiritual teachers out there that have books that people can find. I don't know. I couldn't tell you their book names or anything like that. So
Sure. No, this is amazing. I think Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza are like really awesome. If anyone who wants to like get deeper into like how the body works, how the environment that you create for the body is so important. And like, as you kept mentioning in the interview, it's so important to like, keep working with your mind, because unless your emotional and mental and spiritual body is ready, if you keep forcing on like right food, it's not going to work. It's like a holistic health. I'm sure that's what you teach as a holistic health educator. And it's so important to work with all your bodies, not just your physical body. Amazing. So any last message that you would like to share with the viewers as we close the interview?
Really just thank you so much for inviting me on and getting to share my story and my message. I hope people enjoyed it and got something from it. But yeah, I just, be compassionate with yourself, be patient, be persistent, and be practical. Those are usually the three tips that I give people starting out. I call it the 3 Ps: practical, patient, and persistent. Because, a lot of people just think that things are going to happen overnight, but, it's a process. And, the mindset is something that takes time to start to reprogram, and the diet as well. So, just be patient with yourself and have compassion and just do your best.
Yeah, amazing. You added the 4th P, that it's a process and not an overnight thing.
Right,
amazing.
right.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Matt, for your time. I am really grateful. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful energy and all the wisdom that you have. And I wish you all the best. I'm sure the viewers really enjoyed the show, and lots of love and regards for you and your family. And you're welcome to come to India, to my place, whenever you're, flying down towards here. Just write me a message.
Yeah, I would love to. India is somewhere I've always really wanted to visit. So yeah, I'll definitely let you know if we're going to be in the area.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.